Hey everybody, so it's Carla with Race to Walk, and what is today? So today I'm going to be talking about how Texas spent $35 billion in pens. So anyway, what I've been doing, I'm just going to do a quick recap. If this is the first one you're watching and you're thinking, what the heck is this about? This is what happened. So back in, I don't know, the beginning of this year, actually, I started calling out sock puppets. Okay, that's what happened. I started calling out sock puppets on Twitter, and I started getting hacked. And I was like, "What's going on?" But I didn't really know what the purpose was, other than I just was looking today. I have called them out quite a bit and said they're lame. And like, anyway, I have said a lot of things about these sock puppet accounts. So anyway, so it started back then, but it wasn't really sure like what all was going on, and there wasn't really anything specifically that I could like report. So it comes to April, and I could tell that they had been hacking my devices and my phones and stuff. But finally, in April, I had a definite hack that I could like take to authorities and say this is obvious and evident. So called the FBI. They blew me off. Told me to contact the police. I called the police. They told me to call Geek Squad. So wasn't going to be getting any help from them. So then another month goes by. So in May, uh, we discovered that there was a bootleg copy of the Dostoevsky issue on an Expected Journal on Amazon, and they had used an actual ISBN number, like one that they had bought from Bowker. And I was like, okay, so this is like totally obvious, and this should be easy to track down. Like all you have to do is go to Bowker, say who owns this ISBN number, and then go to Amazon and say who is collecting the revenue for this. Super simple, right? Yeah. So no, that didn't happen. So anyway, so again, I contact the FBI. They basically just tell me to submit a report on IC3, and then I went into the police department, and I was just showing him like what was going on with this, and he's like, "Well, what I would do is just take get it off Amazon, stop the bleed, and then kind of like go from there. But I just wanted to like have it documented and have a report and say this is what's going on." So anyway, so that goes on, and somebody had told me that the FBI isn't going to do squat unless it's like a huge dollar amount. And so what I was seeing, I knew it was like a criminal syndicate that was going online. They were involved in all sorts of shady things. So I spent 2 months writing a report outlining everything that I saw them doing with screenshots, and I submitted it on July 28th. And anyway, so that happened. I'm not going to say anything more about that, but the only response that I've gotten from anybody about this, besides it was from the Department of Justice, because I also submitted a complaint to them, and they just said they were dismissing it. I had 2 complaints. One of them was because I had submitted a complaint to the Texas Attorney General's office the year before about Amazon skimming sales. Never got a response from them. And then the other one was about this, and they just sent a message saying they were dismissing it. So that's July 28th. And then the next day I start seeing all of this like massive intellectual property theft and everything. And it was just like overwhelming. And once before this, like in April, I didn't know anybody that was involved. By May, I knew 2 people that were involved. And then after I submitted the report, the next day, I just came across all this stuff, and I realized that basically everything I had written had been stolen. And I started realizing more people that were involved, and it's people that I knew. And so anyway, August 4th, I did a live stream. This is the first one in the series of Hacked, and it says Sunday Thoughts, a message to my stalker. And it was then when I was doing this, preparing for that I started realizing certain posts on my site had been targeted. Like I knew that my site had been targeted, had been sabotaged in search. It's just a bunch of things, posts have been sabotaged. But it was when I was preparing for that stream that I realized that I started realizing which particular ones have been targeted. It was very specific. So I did that live stream on August 4th, August 5th. So they got the hackers got my my Facebook account suspended. And when they were doing that, they hacked it. I also reformatted my phone on the 5th to try to, because they had been in and out of my phone. And once I did that, it was like they had I don't know, like some corrupt operating system. It's a Google Pixel phone on T-Mobile network. So anyway, they pretty much, like, my phone was just like a complete mess. So this kind of started this whole thing. So we think, right, that this is going to be all the stuff that I'm showing evidence of is escalating. It just really got, like, back in April when I called them, like, it took about a week, and then after that, they like completely went to town on all my stuff. It's like they saw that the FBI wasn't going to respond, and it just got exponentially worse. The same thing happened here when they didn't respond. I mean, it's kind of like a pause, and then when they didn't respond, it just was like nonstop, and it has been pretty much ever since. They literally, like today, I was doing something on Twitter. They're sitting in my phone. Like, they're just literally creepy, obsessive stalkers. They're pretty much worthless, but anyway, they're just like constantly hacking my devices. So anyway, August 7th, I go into the Woodburn Police Department, and I start telling him, this same officer that I had spoken to before, because now I have more evidence, right, that they're stalking on all of this. And he comes in and he's on crutches, and he basically blows me off. So he had given me good advice, like, listen at the same time. That my mistake was that I named him in the FBI report as the only person that had actually listened to what I was saying. And I think what they did, I don't think the FBI submission report is actually confidential. I think there's either they're hacking it, or there's corrupt people in the FBI that gave them that information. I think somebody said something to him, and you can go watch my live stream that I did about that. It's like, because he literally told me that hacking wasn't a crime. This is what he told me, beyond a bunch of other, like, idiotic statements. So anyway, August is basically, I'm trying, because they've hacked pretty much everything, anything digital. I had just gotten a different laptop in June, which I think came to me. I got it from Tech Mobility in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm pretty sure it either came to me compromised, or they had the person gave them. They got the ID of my laptop because they've been in that laptop ever since I got it. I completely reformatted the whole thing down, completely wiped it, scrubbed everything, started reformatting it, and then it still stopped. So I think it is, you can tell it's a Dell laptop, but I think it is that they have they're hacking by device ID. So anyway, that's August, dealing with all that crap. And then finally on August 22nd, I realized, this sounds stupid, but I realized that part of the reason that they were targeting all the political related posts, I don't even have that many. I just have a couple of them. I have one where I called Ted Cruz a hypocrite in 2017. I have one on election, faith, and parties that was just talking about, like, why, like, at the time, I would not have, like, voted for somebody, like, you have to, I wasn't a solid Republican voter. Now you can basically kiss off after all this, because I'm pretty positive that all the hacking is politically funded, because I said something about Ted Cruz. I had to have a video about that. So I'm pretty sure that I know who got me targeted with this. Somebody that I fact check got mad, and he has, like, political connections. If you are from the Kingwood Humboldt area, you can go look at my Facebook post, because my site has been targeted, and some of the throwaway blogs have Kim Kardashian in the title. And if you are from the area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, so if you go to the FBI site, this is what they tell you to do if you've been hacked. This is total BS, because I did all these things, nothing. So in all of this, like I said, I know who some of the people are, and they are shady snakes, and it's not like they come out and say the things that they're involved in. Obviously, you don't do that if you have things to be ashamed of. But I had noticed, I know that they are, I don't know what they call themselves, content agency, PR agency, whatever. Like basically all they know how to do is hack, manipulate algorithms, and do, use Canva. That's basically the extent of their skills. But I could tell that they had I know what some of their clients are, just because of their sock puppet network. And I know some of them, they have some Texas agencies as a client. So since none of the authorities are doing squat and they are hacking me continually and sabotaging, I'm not even going to get into all the things that they've done, but sabotaging me continually, obviously I can't rely on anybody else, which, I'm used to it. And so I'm going to have to make my own efforts to get to the bottom of who they are. And since I know that they do work for some of the Texas agencies, I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to look at some of the contracts for some of the departments that I know that they're representing. So you can go to Texas Smart Buy and you can look at the content, but the contact search. So this is why I started looking. You can find a lot of interesting things when you look at contracts. So, and this is just a side note. So you have to look up, you can look up by different things, but I was thinking the most obvious thing would be to search for the code that kind of service would come under. And so these are the codes. I went up through all of those things. Like I went through all the ones that it could possibly be, didn't come up as a code that way. And so I just started going down some of these departments and looking through their contracts, and just seeing who did what, and just looking in the contracts where it might have the slightest possibility that it might be some of this social media stuff, right? So I get to this one. It's WorkSource. I think they're in Austin. But anyway, I kid you not, I'm looking through, and it will tell you the amount, right? And the date of when the report about the contract was after the purchase order of the payment is filed. And, so anyway, I kid you not, I come to this contract where it says it has a contract for $35 billion. Billion dollars for pens and erasable markers. Like, what in the actual heck? $35 billion for pens. So here's the deal. I actually looked this up. Like, what in the hell could you possibly even remotely, could this even be anything? So there's a story, I'll link to it when I put it up on my site, from NASA, where there's this urban legend that they spent millions of dollars for pens that would write in space. Okay, this actually isn't true. So Paul Fisher spent $1 million to develop a pen, but then he sold it to them he gave them this is a pen that can write in space. And they paid $2.39 per pen as it got a 40% discount. So Texas, and this just happened. Okay, so this is a report, right? Texas spends $35 billion. And this is the other thing. So this report was filed. The PO was in June. The report was filed on September 5th. Now you may say, "Oh, that's just a glitch." So I don't know how Texas does a reporting or accounting or whatever. But my thought is, it's got to balance, right? So if it's actually these things are going to have to balance. This is just my thought. And you may say, okay, that's just a mistake. You would hope so, right? But here's the thing. That's not the only one from this company. Last year, they had another, oh wait, those are my pens. I was just going to show you. Like these, I just bought these just recently. And these even came with refills. And then buying 6 is like $1.15 or something per 13, I guess, per pen. If you buy 18, this is what I show you. If you buy 18, it's less, so buying in bulk, it helps. So Anyway, did I do the right one? Yeah, they had another one. Oh, wait. This one, $32 billion. It doesn't say it's for pens, but it's for like printers and stuff like that. So I was just looking this up because I was like, this is so crazy. Do you know that 35 billion is more than the GDP of Zimbabwe? And Texas spent $35 billion on pens and $32 billion on printers. And this was just a year ago to the same company. So I don't know what's going on. And I really haven't had time. This is the thing. I was going through the contracts because you know how you go to a government agency and they like jerk you around and you ask for freedom of information request because it would be easier just to go and say, hey, who's doing social media or, online marketing for these departments? That would be easy. But I just had a feeling that they probably jerked me around about it. So that's why I started looking. So I still don't know. I will find it. But who else knows what else I will find? And here's the thing. This is just a comment. So this was months ago. I said, if you hadn't been jerking me around and had been hacking me, I would have never looked at any of this. If you hadn't started hacking me, I would have just I wouldn't even looked at any of this. I wouldn't have found the publishing scam that's been going on. I wouldn't have seen all the criminal activities that are going on in social media, and I wouldn't have found this PO for $35 billion. $35 billion. If anybody had actually done their flipping job and responded when I said people are hacking me. Okay, so who knows what else I will find before somebody decides that they're actually going to do their job. So anyway, anybody would like to investigate into this or has any insight, you can let me know. Now the thing is, I do want to say this. I've had these things happen to me. I've seen how they hack. They can actually, it seems like I'm not a hacker, so I don't know how this works, but it seems like they can tunnel in through like your own connection. And so it looks like you're accessing something and it's not. I've had them edit my photos in Google Photo. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. So what I do want to say about those contracts is that it's, in my opinion, it's probably dead certain that the people whose names that are like submitting the contracts and approving them probably aren't the people that actually did this. My guess is that the money probably went, right? The money's gone somewhere, or else they're covering up a bunch of other graft other places. I don't know. I'm sure the money's gone. But whoever did that PO, they could have had like a smaller amount, like a reasonable amount, and then somebody hacked in, made it seem like it was them for the larger one. So I'm just going to say it's probably, the reason I blacked out those names is just because, I mean, you can go look it up, super easy, yourself, and so you can see it. But just keep in mind that the people's names that are on there are probably the ones that are being set up. They probably don't know, like, even what's going on, because those are the kinds of things that the people that have been hacking me have been doing. And so I'm pretty positive that for $35 billion, they could probably get somebody that could do that kind of thing. So anyway, and I was going to try to do this, but as I was thinking about it, I'm like, how much room would $35 billion worth of pens take up? How long would it take you to use $35 or $35 billion worth of pens? If anybody has just wants to spend time on that, let me know. Tag me on it so you can do a visual representation or just figure that out. How long it would take somebody, anybody, even the entire state of Texas to use $35 billion worth of pens and literally how much space that would take up. Anyway, so that was my little discovery for the week. But I hope you're having a great week. And again, actually, I think I have my emails straightened out. So I mean, that's a positive thing. So anyway, life goes on. More discoveries come up every day. And oh, yeah. So by the guy that I got my Sabotage laptop from, Tech Mobility of Charlotte, North Carolina. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're doing okay. Here's the irony of this. Again, like I said, it's been really difficult for me to use a computer on anything because it like hack it all the time and it will like freeze and I have to restart it. It's just it's basically has been unusable, except for certain times when, like at this point, I know who. I don't think it's probably not the Tech Mobility guy that's actually hacking me, but I think that he probably knows the person that's hacking me. But anyway, I do think that the person who is the primary hacker was in the path of Helene. So I've actually been able to be pretty productive over the past few days because even though authorities aren't doing squat, God is, obviously. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I've been through a lot of natural disasters. I know how horrible it is, but I'm just saying the upside for me was that somebody hasn't been able to continue to hack me. Anyway, so that's my update for the week. Talk to you later.